So, good afternoon. I've been tasked with presenting what a literature review is. So, I'm in a group project for our research class with Sergio Perez and Rachel Thompson. I'm sending through via the email the complete literature review package and the meeting log notes when we met together with our group to kind of assign the different tasks. So this is the task that's been assigned to me is consolidating this information and then presenting it on a video form. So give me a few minutes here. I'm just going to quickly go over what we discovered about what a literature review is when it comes to research. So essentially, what a literature review is a complete summary of a well-studied topic. It's a consolidation of books, scholarly articles, research papers, etc., all kind of found under one heading called a literature review. So if you're looking for comprehensive knowledge on a subject and kind of everything that's been written about a certain subject, you can go to the literature review and draw your sources out of that. Now, a literature review doesn't necessarily take one element and study it. Instead, its goal is to kind of set themes or subheadings of research. So it's not particularly helpful if you're looking for information about a minute aspect of research, but it's more of a comprehensive kind of understanding of all of the available information on a certain theme or subheading. So the goal is to synthesize all of the published material on a subject and to evaluate it. That's what a literature review is: synthesize the material and evaluate it. It's important. A literature review is important when it comes to research. It's probably one of the most important sources of information because it's all there. It's all consolidated. It's easy to digest and it's easy to understand. And you could also pull out many other kind of citations or sources or references that would help in your study of a certain subject. So, when you're beginning research on a complex subject, it's a good idea to start with the literature review. Now, there's 5 important aspects of a literature review, which I made a few notes on here. Number 1, it is to reduce the likelihood of repetition, which is probably pretty common in the world of research. And when you're studying one subject, there tends to be a lot of the same information repeated over and over again. I've even come across that myself in our discussion posts where I'm drawing from the same source of information that another classmate is, and there tends to be even repetition even in a small class of 10 people. By consulting a literature review, it would help to prevent a lot of that due to the multitude of sources available. It's all under one heading, right? Easy to find a literature review. Number 2, develop a strong understanding of the subject at hand. As I mentioned before, it's a consolidation of all the known material on this thing. So if you really want to know about a subject, you can go to the literature review and find everything there is to know about that subject. Number 3, it's an easy place to find supporting evidence. Like I said before, you can go to a literature review, you can get the overall understanding of the subject, the themes that it creates, the subheadings that you're looking for, and out of those subheadings, you can follow the citations, the source citations, and find even more material all under the literature review heading. Number 4, it facilitates reflective criticism. And number 5, it makes connections to the statistical results. So essentially, literature review encapsulates all these things that I had just mentioned. Reduce the likelihood of repetition of research, develop a strong understanding of the subject at hand, easy place to find supporting evidence, facilitates reflective criticism, and makes connections on the statistical results. So the next thing is how does that affect us in our position as paramedic students, as paramedics in the pre-hospital setting? So in our paper that is included with this submission, there's about 4 or 5 different examples, but I'll just highlight one. example, and that was regarding ultrasounds in the pre-hospital setting, but it was using a European model. And in the European model, they use doctors on the response cars and their ambulances. When this information came over from Europe, from the UK, it didn't quite translate to the EMS system that we have in place. So thanks to the literature review, and that was written by Uno Momento. This is from the Emergency Medical Journal, a study by Brook et al., and that was 2010, and that has to do with the ultrasounds. The literature review helped to highlight the skill set of paramedics. We're competent practitioners. A pre-hospital ultrasound does not necessarily need to be performed by a physician. It can be performed in the North American model by a paramedic. So it highlights the skill of paramedics in the pre-hospital setting by distilling all the information that was known on this subject under the literature review heading of Emergency Medical Journal. And ultimately, the use of the literature review can have specific results to our field. It consolidates all of our knowledge on the subject of, let's say, pre-hospital ultrasound. It was performed by doctors, and then it can kind of highlight the skill that paramedics can bring to the table and potentially open the door for new skill sets and really just improving the standard of care as we move forward. So before these things are implemented in North America, there's going to have to be a literature review done somewhere else. So all that information consolidated from the UK can then be brought over. They found out it doesn't quite fit because it's physicians that are doing these pre-hospital ultrasounds, but it will somehow fit into the model in the pre-hospital care system in North America because paramedics are the skilled providers that are able to perform these kind of things. The reason we got to that place, the reason we're able to increase patient care standards is because of things like a literature review where decades of information are all consolidated into one, and it's an easy place for researchers to go and find this information, draw out the important bits, highlight the things that need to be highlighted, and ultimately a literature review can lead to improved patient care standards in the future. So that is essentially what a literature review is. It's an interesting portion of research. I wasn't aware of it really myself before going into this. Moving forward, when I'm asked to research a subject, I will start at the literature review. I will start there and draw my sources from that, because it seems like a literature review is one of the easiest, fastest ways to find a lot of information on a subject at hand. So thank you so much for listening to my little presentation here, and you have a good day.